Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Please let me know in the comment section whether my audio and video is clear or not. I hope all of you are doing well. I welcome you all to this very important session related to MSMEs. Right? So we have these master directions related to lending to the MSME sector. MSME is micro, small, and medium enterprises. This is the small scale industry segment over here. There are some guidelines which have been amended. We have the master direction of 2026. So some things have been a bit, amended, and we're going to cover the entire direction more holistically, not just one particular amendment, but we are going to discuss about it in detail so that you have a good idea about MSMEs. This is a very important and potential question for not only your descriptive answer writing but directly in the MCQs part. Statement based MCQs can be asked from this master direction, and that is why this is important. So please let me know whether audio and video is clear or not. Just confirm in the comment section so that we can start without any disruption. And before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the app, from the Olive Board app. And just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder. From there, you can download, or you can connect with me on Telegram. Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my group, which is Economics with Mannat. All right, fine. Now, before I begin, I want you to know that why are MSMEs important for the economy. Micro, small, medium enterprises are very, very important for the economy. What is the reason behind that? For example, you get a question related to MSMEs. One thing you need to remember is micro, small, and medium enterprises. The limits, or you can say the criteria of deciding which which kind of an enterprise is a micro enterprise, which kind of enterprise is a small enterprise or a medium enterprise, depends on the directions of the government, depends upon the classifications of the government, and this classification is updated from time to time. The recent updation we're going to see of the master circular, which was presented in March 2025. So based on that, we have a criteria based on the investment limit and the turnover. We are going to see what is the investment and turnover limit for each of these micro, small, and medium enterprises. All right. Now, why MSMEs are important is because these MSMEs are considered the backbone of the Indian economy. They are considered as backbone of the Indian economy. Why are these considered as backbone of the Indian economy? Because it provides a lot of employment to the people. Fine. It provides employment to the people. It adds and contributes to the GDP of the country. You all tell me, how much does these MSMEs contribute to GDP and employment? Can anybody give me a guess? Anybody in the comment section? In fact, MSMEs play a very vital role in promoting exports as well. Okay, so that is what is the importance of MSMEs. Can anybody tell me how much do they contribute? Good day, Hemant. 50 almost, Hemant is saying. Is that so? Employment may to these MSMEs contribute a lot. So most of the people, if I talk about the industrial segment, most of these people are employed in the MSME sector, whether it's the informal MSMEs, informal in the sense which have not been registered under the MSME Act, or whether it's the formal MSMEs who have been registered under the Udyam registration portal. So there is this registration portal, Udyam registration portal, and you have to register yourself as an MSME through this Udyam portal. Fine. So it provides a lot of employment, because what happens is, in our country we have semi-skilled we have more of semi skilled and unskilled labor which can be absorbed in the MSME sector. So this provides a very it provides a good boost to the employment. And you know what? If I talk about the GDP, then approximately 30% MSMEs contribute approximately 30% to the GDP of the country. 30%. Fine. And if I talk about exports, they contribute 45% to exports. They contribute 45% to the manufacturing output as well. This data is very, very important because when you write an answer, you can mention all of these points over here. I hope you're getting it. Right? I hope you're getting it. 45. Okay, Hemant, you're just guessing. So 45% contribution to the exports, 45% contribution to the manufacturing output, and 30% contribution to GDP. This is what you're going to write down in an answer, and that is why it is considered as the backbone of the country. And that is why government time to time tries to improve the performance of the MSMEs so that there is ease of doing business. Right now, if you see that because of Trump tariffs of 50%, it really impacted the MSME segment as well. Right, it impacted the MSME segment as well, and that is why this was a concern. The tariffs were a concern as well because a lot of MSMEs export. All right, everyone. So MSMEs, they play a very important role in the Indian economy, and that is why time to time there are updations, time to time there are amendments related to the MSME sector, micro, small, and medium enterprises. I hope this introduction to all of you is clear. Whenever you write an answer, it is very important for you to mention all of these things. Fine. Now let's talk about the classification criteria, that how are how are these MSMEs classified. How are these MSMEs classified? So like I told you that they are classified on the basis of the investment limit, how much they invest, how much money they have invested, and secondly the turnover limit. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of turnover? Because when you are discussing about the limits, you need to obviously know the literal meaning of turnover. You have to know the meaning of that as well, right? So write down in the comment section and tell me what is the meaning of turnover. Acha, there's an important thing over here. Whatever provisions are mentioned in the master directions, these apply to the scheduled commercial banks, excluding the regional rural banks. All right, please make sure you remember this. We are excluding the regional rural banks from these applicability of the applicability of these provisions of this master directions. It is only applicable to the scheduled commercial banks. And what is the meaning of scheduled commercial banks? See, banks can be either scheduled, or non-scheduled. Scheduled means Scheduled means that they are part of the second schedule of the RBI Act of 1934. So in the RBI Act of 1934, there is something known as second schedule. So if you fulfill a particular criteria, you can be listed in the second schedule. So if you are listed in the second schedule, you are a scheduled commercial bank or a scheduled bank. If you're not if you're not listed in the second schedule, you are considered as a non-scheduled bank. So this is applicable to the scheduled commercial banks, excluding the regional rural banks, because scheduled commercial banks are also four types. We have private sector banks, we have public sector banks, we have regional rural banks, and also under regional rural banks, it is not applicable. Fine, we have cooperative banks also, है ना? So regional rural banks के ऊपर this is not applicable. I hope this is clear. Yearly revenue, Hemant is saying how much business they do, part of RBI second schedule. Yes, Hemant, है ना? So turnover means it is calculated based on the total sales. Total sales. For example, for example, how much you have invested, say the cost that you have put about this year, maybe you have added 10,000 rupees. This is your cost, and then you are selling the product, and by selling the product you are, say, earning 50,000 rupees. Now, because of these sales, what you are earning is considered as your turnover. When you subtract the cost from this turnover, or the total revenue that you have earned, which is 40,000, then you get your total profit. Fine. So when you're not excluding the cost that you are putting in, when you're not excluding the cost, that is known as turnover. How much your total sales are there of the company or of the business. Okay, everyone. So based on these two criteria, investment limit and turnover limit, you classify micro enterprises. For example, if you are investing less than 2.5 crore and your turnover is less than 10 crore, you will be considered as a micro enterprise. If you are investing less than 25 crore and your turnover is less than 100 crore, you will be considered as a small enterprise. And if your investment is less than 125 crore and turnover less than 500 crore, you will be considered as a medium enterprise. Is that clear to all of you? So you have to learn, revise, and remember these limits. It is very important. So 2.5, 25, 125. 10, 100, 500 crore. Please remember this. Try to learn it in this manner. 2.5, 25, 125, 10, 100 and 500. This is the investment limit and this is the turnover limit. Please remember this, all of you. This is very, very important. Directly in your MCQs, directly in the descriptive question, this can be asked. There is this online platform which is known as Udyam portal. Udyam portal, you have to register yourself on the Udyam portal. Only if you register will you be able to get loans under the priority sector lending guidelines. Can anybody tell me what are these priority sector lending guidelines, PSL guidelines? Priority sector lending. What is PSL? Anybody? Anybody? I'm waiting for your messages in the comment section. Just tell me what is the meaning of priority sector lending. Anyone would like to answer? Once you register on the Udyam portal, you receive an Udyam registration certificate. Only if you have a Udyam registration certificate will you be able to avail loans under priority sector lending. The priority sector lending guidelines are those guidelines, some portion lending for 8 sectors. These are some guidelines wherein the government or RBI specifies that please direct your money in this direction. On a priority basis, please provide money to these areas. It is very important to build up these areas. For example, MSMEs come under the priority sector lending guidelines. We have education, we have renewable energy, we have health, we have affordable housing. All of these things are part of the priority sector guidelines, that on a priority basis these sectors should be provided money. A percentage of your total credits that you give, this is for the commercial banks, a percentage of the total credit that you give, they should be a part of your priority sector lending. In priority basis you have to provide this money to this segment of the society. Fine. Mandatory lending by banks to sectors such as agriculture. Yes, yes, very good, very good. Fine. Export also, agriculture also, yes, fine. So only if you have this Udyam registration certificate will you be able to provide will you be able to take up loans under the priority sector lending. And for retail and wholesale trade also, priority under that is also included under your PSL. And informal micro enterprises will also be treated as micro for PSL. So if there is any informal sector, this is a an extra important thing here, that even if you are a part of the informal sector, see there are two sectors in the economy, one is the formal sector, one is the informal sector, one is the organized sector, one is the unorganized sector. So even if you're part of the unorganized sector and there is a micro enterprise, that will also be considered as a micro enterprise for taking up loans under the priority sector lending guidelines. I hope that this particular slide is clear to everyone. This is just the classification. Firstly, we have to know that these directions are applicable to whom? To all the scheduled commercial banks, excluding the regional rural banks. Fine. Secondly, the criteria over here, micro, small, and medium enterprises. How do you classify an enterprise as a micro enterprise, or an enterprise as a small enterprise, or a medium enterprise, is based on investment and turnover limits. 2.5, 25, 125, 10, 100, 500. Please learn it and remember it in this manner. For availing the priority sector lending for the MSMEs, you have to be a part of the Udyam registration portal. You have to register yourselves on the portal and receive the certificate. Fine, everyone. I hope this is clear. Okay, so there is this PM task force, Prime Minister's task force, which has provided certain recommendations for the scheduled commercial banks. There are some targets which have been prepared for the scheduled commercial banks, that you should be able to do the following three things: one, two, and three. This is for the scheduled commercial banks. These are the recommendations. PM task force has provided these recommendations, these targets. The first target is that you have to try to achieve 20% year on year growth in what? In credit to the micro and small enterprises. We are talking about micro and small enterprises over here, that we should be seeing a 20% year on year growth in credit to the micro and small enterprises. First important thing. The second important thing is that we should try to achieve 10% annual growth in number of micro enterprise accounts. So in your bank accounts, the money that you provide, at least 10% annual growth should be seen in the number of more micro enterprise accounts to be opened. Third important thing is at least 60% of the micro and small enterprise lending should be provided to the micro sectors. So, out of the micro, small, and medium enterprises, micro enterprises should be given priority. 60%, for example, you have 100 rupees, and total you are providing 50 rupees for the MSMEs. Out of these 50 rupees, 60% of these 50 rupees, which is 30 rupees, should be given to the micro enterprises. Is this particular thing clear to all of you or not? These are the three targets which have been provided by the PM task force, that firstly try to achieve 20% year on year growth in credit to micro and small enterprises. Secondly, 10% annual growth in the number of micro enterprise accounts. And thirdly, 60% of total MSE lending should go to the micro enterprises. These are the three important targets which have been set up by the PM task force. I hope this is clear. So, till now, what have we done? First, we try to understand why MSMEs are important for the economy. Then, we saw how these MSMEs are classified and these directions are applicable to whom. And there is this online portal which is called as Udyam Registration Portal, where you can register yourself as a micro, small, medium enterprise. Thirdly, there was this PM task force which has recommended a few things. Three targets have been recommended: 20% year on year growth target for credit to micro and small enterprises, 10% annual growth in micro enterprise accounts, and 60% of total MSE lending should be to micro enterprises. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, up until here, we are only talking about the 2025 directions. In 2026, this is the updation. The master directions of 2026 provide these important directions which you have to remember. Directly a question can be asked from here. Firstly, collateral free lending guidelines are there. No collateral should be accepted for loans up to 20 lakh. So if you are providing loans up to 20 lakh to any micro, small, medium enterprise, then you do not have to accept collateral. Collateral is basically margin. You don't have to accept it. Okay? Secondly, if if an MSME has a good track record, has a good financial position, has a good track record and a good financial position, that means the MSME is doing good. In that case, you can further extend collateral free loans up to 25 lakh. So 20 lakh tak to it's mandatory that you do not have to collect, the banks do not have to collect any collateral. But you can extend it up to 5 lakh. 5 lakh extra that you can extend only if you have a good track record and your financial position is good. If MSME's track record and financial position is good. But if there is any MSME which wants to provide, voluntarily wants to provide gold or silver है ना, up to silver as collateral for these much limits. If there's any MSME who voluntarily wants to provide, then they can provide. This is not a violation of these guidelines. That means firstly, you have to provide no collateral. You have to provide collateral free loans mandatory up to 20 lakh. ठीक है, and you can extend it up to 25 lakh, है ना. But if in case there is any MSME which wants to keep collateral in the form of gold or silver, then this is not a violation. They can definitely do so. So in 2026, these guidelines have been updated. Thank you so much, Hemant. I really hope that you are liking the way I teach, and I hope you're understanding also. That is what matters a lot, right? Chalo. So I hope this is clear. Then there are certain important things which have been mentioned over here. Again, these were not directly mentioned in the 2026 guidelines. These are part of the 2025 guidelines only. If you want a composite loan, what is the meaning of a composite loan? Wherein you are providing, when suppose you're an MSME, you want working capital loan also. Working capital matlab for day to day things. You want a working capital loan for day to day, say you want raw material and all, है ना? And if you want term loan, which is long term loan. So if you want working capital and long term loan together, you can avail this through a single window service. Now you don't have to apply it differently. You don't have to apply for working capital loan differently or term loan differently. You can do it through the single window, but the limit is up to 1 crore. So up to 1 crore you can get working capital and term loan both in a single window service. You don't have to apply differently for these things. Okay. Secondly, general credit card can also be provided. So, as the according to the master directions of 2021, if there is any bank which is providing credit card facility to the MSMEs, for them now they can provide a general credit card. But for what? For what can this general credit card be provided? For non farm entrepreneurial activities. So it should not be agriculture related. It should be non farm entrepreneurial activities. In that case, general credit card can be provided. And what are going to be the terms and conditions based upon the board? Okay, and you have to obviously adhere to the collateral free guidelines also. Yes, working capital also in the form of credit line. Yes. Yes, Hemant. Both of these things. Fine. So you can avail the offer from a single window. I hope this is clear, everyone. These are specialized credit instruments which have been mentioned in the directions. Apart from that, if you want emergency funds, say there is some problem, for example, if the tariffs were applied directly on the on the MSME export segment, so you need immediate fund. So if you need immediate fund for unforeseen circumstances, in that case, in this guideline they have specified that maximum within 14 working days, the loan has to be provided up to 25 lakh. So up to 25 lakh emergency funds have to be provided to the MSMEs within how many days? Within 14 working days, for unforeseen circumstances, for emergency situations. Okay? And standby credit is a specialized pre-approved credit, pre-approved amount of money which can be provided. कि पहले से we have decided that this much amount can be given to you for term loans in case of emergency. ठीक है, this is standby credit. This has been already decided beforehand only कि if something happens, unforeseen circumstances happen, then pre-approved credit will be provided in the form of term loans, which is known as standby credit. Apart from that, emergency working capital is also provided for emergency purposes, and a mid-term review will also be done to increase the limit. So this limit is 25 lakh. This limit can be increased also after any kind of mid-term review. So if in case there is any unforeseen circumstance or in case of any emergency, so that flow of funds is fluid and easy for these MSMEs, because unforeseen circumstances can happen with anyone. It can happen at any time. So to help all of these MSMEs, that is why this has been considered that within 14 days up to 25 lakh loans have to be provided. All right, fine. I hope this is clear, everyone. Then if there is any loan application, now we are talking about loan application over here, loan application of the MSMEs. Okay, so there is this tracking system over here. Can anybody tell me what is this tracking system? CPTS. Any idea what is this tracking system? CPTS. Anybody? Anybody? What is the CPTS? This is Credit Proposal Tracking System. Credit Proposal Tracking System. Basically, this is a central registration system which tracks the loan applications which are provided by the MSMEs. Loan applications both offline and this is basically tracking loan applications online, but there is going to be a unique application ID which is going to be generated for both offline as well as online loan applications. So we have this CPTS system, which is Credit Proposal Tracking System, which tracks the loan applications of the MSMEs, which tracks the loan applications of these MSMEs. And when you track these MSMEs, you have to also send a signal to the MSMEs ki what is the status of your application. ठीक है, whether it's under review, जैसे if you apply for any job, there is not that resume viewed, then review process or rejected application like that. So you have to update the MSMEs that what is the status of your application. ठीक है, and there has to be a proper window within stipulated time you have to tell the MSMEs whether your loan is rejected or whether your loan is accepted or whether it's in review. And if your loan is rejected, you have to in writing explain it to the MSMEs ki what is the problem, why your loan was rejected, so that next time when they apply for the loan, they can rectify. Okay? And indicative document checklist must be displayed on bank website. So whenever they start filling out the loan application, whenever they start filling out the loan application, these MSMEs, there has to be a proper checklist. Ki, you have to add this, you have to add this, you have to add this, you have to add this. So जैसे when you give your exam, तो वहाँ पे लिखा होता है ना, you have to bring in blue pen or black ball pen, and you have to bring your Aadhaar ID with yourselves, you have to bring a declaration with yourself. So that kind of a checklist has to be there ki what you have to bring in to avail the loan, so that there is minimum rejections. Alright everyone, so there is this tracking system for loan tracking of the MSMEs. If it is rejected, you have to in writing tell them ki why it was rejected, and there is a prerequisite that you have to definitely give a document jahan pe you can write down that these MSMEs have to bring in all of these things. I hope this is clear, all of you. I hope this is clear. ठीक है. Apart from that, if there is a so for the public sector banks, there is a guideline that at least there should be a branch which provides loan to the MSMEs in every district. So in every district, there should at least be one public sector bank which provides loans to the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And if there is any branch which provides more than 60% of the money to the MSMEs, it should be considered as an MSME branch. Please label it as an MSME branch. That is what this guideline is saying. Fine. Apart from that, we have to have empowered committees which is going to set certain standards for this MSME protocol. Fine. So wherever the RBI regional offices are going to be there, these committees are going to be sitting there. We have we're going to have SLBC convener, SIDB, state government, MSME associations and all, which are going to be a part of the committee. Fine. And ठीक है, fine, then they are going to review the progress and remove any kind of bottlenecks. The RBI director is going to chair these committees. So we have to have proper committees which is going to set standards and all. Alright everyone. ठीक है? Apart from that, there is this cluster approach. So the Ministry of MSME or the states or UTs, they are going to identify clusters of MSMEs. Who's going to identify the clusters of MSMEs? Ministry of MSME or states and UTs. And based on these clusters, benefits are going to be provided. There is going to be a lead bank. Clusters matlab bahut sare MSMEs are concentrated in a particular area. There is going to be a lead bank. There is going to be a lead bank who is going to promote the credit linkage in these identified clusters. So this bank is going to link all of these, provide credit linkage between all of these MSMEs. They're going to integrate the all the needs, whatever are the needs of these MSMEs, needs of these banks, into the district credit plan, into the annual credit plan. And SLBC will disclose credit extended to clusters quarterly. What are these SLBCs? Basically, state level bankers committee. They are going to disclose credit extended to clusters on a quarterly basis. So basically, what is the idea behind this is that we need to identify clusters of micro, small and medium enterprises, and based on these clusters we are going to benefit them, focus on credit linkage. Okay, try to provide them more and more money from different areas. Fine. Apart from that, we have the financial literacy and commitment code. We have this banking codes and standards board of India, which is going to set certain standards for the micro and small enterprises so that transparency is maintained, so that good practices are followed. So we have this code, basic standards and codes will be set up. And financial literacy will be the focus, that we have to provide literacy, we have to make the people aware about money, about accounting skills, about planning skills. Okay? And through financial literacy centers we are going to try and promote that. Special camps should be held for spreading awareness about financial literacy. Fine, everyone. And if the MSMEs are facing delayed payments, then there is going to be penalty. So what happens is that these MSMEs, they provide a lot of raw material and stuff to the large enterprise, to big corporations. है ना? But they face delayed payments. Problem is delayed payments. They do not get their money on time, and because of that they cannot function in a smooth and continuous manner. So, for example, today is the acceptance date. Within 45 days, you have to make payment. You have to make payment to the MSMEs within 45 days, and if you do not make the payment, then you will be getting a penalty. So, if you do not get the money, if you do not pay the money to the MSMEs within 45 days, you will have to pay a penalty. And what is the penalty? 3 times the bank rate. So compound interest पे रहेगा 3 times the bank rate. So whatever bank rate is going on, 3 times the bank rate. For example, bank rate is 5%. So 3 times the bank rate you will have to pay extra penalty, extra money. Right? And for the disputes and all, if you want to resolve any dispute, you have to go to the MSME Facilitation Council. What is the bank going to do? It is going to fix sub limits for large borrowers so that proper payment can be done to the MSME. See, MSMEs now, because they operate at a very small level, so they can be misused also. And now they face issue of delayed payments. I am giving you homework, everyone. There is an online portal which resolves online disputes related to delayed payments. If you know, write down in the comment section. If you do not know, this is going to be a homework. You're going to check out which is that portal that I'm talking about for delayed payments. You should be knowing that. You should be aware of this portal. It is very important. If you know, write down in the comment section and tell me. Take care of protection against delayed payments. Fine. Now, if an MSME is not able to pay back the loan, for example, MSME has taken up loan from a commercial bank. Say it has taken up a loan from a scheduled commercial bank. There is a stress resolution framework over here. Say they have taken a loan and they are not able to pay. They are not able to pay within the stipulated time. So how are we going to revive? How are we going to revive that money? How are we going to resolve that problem? This is only up to 25 crore. Okay, this is only up to 25 crore. If you have taken up the loan, how can you resolve? First, you have a normal account. Initially, if the bank thinks that the MSME will not be able to pay back the money, we are going to put them in the special mention account 1, special mention account 0, sorry. When you're anticipating stress that yes, this MSME will not be able to pay back the money if the conditions like this continue, then after some time we will put, if they're still not able to pay back the money, then we'll put in SMA 1 and then in SMA 2. In this scenario, when the MSME account is a part of the SMA 1 and 2 account, we are going to decide a corrective action plan as to how can we revive the money from these MSMEs. Okay? So a proper process will be followed: committee approach, voluntary initiation by the borrower, and we'll try to rehabilitate. We'll try and bring up the money from these MSMEs by doing some or the other thing. The bank is going to do that. So we have stress resolution framework also. Apart from that, there have been many committees for the MSME. Sometimes, in the question, in the MCQ kind of question, in the statement based questions, they can mention about these committees. So you should know a little about these. For example, we have the Nayak committee, which talked about adequacy of institutional credit, how institutional credit should be provided to the small scale industries, micro, small, medium enterprises, how institutional credit from the institutions, how credit can be provided so that they don't have to go to the informal lenders and all. Fine. Then we had the Ganguly committee, which again focused on how credit can be flown to the small scale industry sector. Small scale industry sector. Pehle, these MSMEs used to be known as small scale industries. Then we had Dr. K.C. Chakrabarti working group, which decided a model, a scoring model for loans up to 2 crore and rehabilitation. That how should we be deciding about this? How should we score these MSMEs, and how should we provide them with loan, and if they are not able to pay back the loan, then how can we rehabilitate these MSMEs? And 2010 mein there is this PM task force. We talk about some recommendations na? A few slides back we talked about some recommendations, those 3 year on year growth and all wala. So that task force recommended some policies related to credit, marketing, and all related to the MSME. So these are a few committees which have taken up steps in this regard. Sometimes directly committee type of questions can be written in the statement based questions. All right, everyone, clear? So, what have we basically done in today's session? Let's take a look and let's revise. First of all, we talked about the importance of MSMEs, right? This will be important for your descriptive answer writing. Then we talked about the applicability of these guidelines, which is to the scheduled commercial banks, excluding RRBs. We talked about the limits: micro, small, medium. Then we talked about some three major targets which have been set up by the PM task force. These are the targets that we have to meet. Then we talked about the collateral-free lending guidelines. This was the major amendment done in 2026. So there's likely that you might get a question from here. Fine. So no collateral till 20 lakh, and if the company is doing good track record, then up to 25 lakh. Then we talked about composite loan and general credit card facility, which is provided to the MSMEs. Within 14 days, emergency fund has to be provided up to 25 lakh. Then we talked about loan applications of the MSMEs, that there is the CPTS, credit proposal tracking system, through which loan tracking is done and loan is provided to these MSMEs. If rejected, you have to explain why rejected. And specialized branches are also created. MSME branch, for example, a public sector bank has to have at least one branch in every district, and if it is providing more than 60% loans to the MSMEs, then we can also consider it as an MSME branch of the bank. Okay, then we have committees also for setting standards and all over a period of time. Apart from that, a lead bank is going to be there. A cluster approach is followed, where lead bank is going to we are going to identify Ministry of MSME and the states and UTs. They are going to identify the clusters, and we are going to give the duty to this lead bank, and this lead bank is going to help in credit linkage. Then we talk about the BC-SBI code, which is Banking Codes and Standards Board of India, which is again going to set standards for these micro and small enterprises. And financial literacy will also be provided to the MSMEs. For delayed payments, I have given you a homework. You have to check out the online portal for dispute resolution or delayed payments related as well. Fine. And then we talked about how, if the MSMEs are not able to pay back the loan, how the money can be revived. Apart from that, we also talked about key committees which are responsible for MSME related guidelines. Okay? So, definition, composite criteria, investment and turnover base pay, we have the MSMEs that are classified. Collateral free loan, 20 lakh tak mandatory and up to 25 lakh discretionary. We've already discussed this. What are the targets we have discussed? And for delayed payments, we have yeah, acha, for these unforeseen circumstances, again, we have a timeline. And if you are not providing money, if there is any delayed payment, then there's going to be penalty 3 times the bank rate. Fine, this is what we have done. If you want to learn everything in similar manner, in this easy manner, you can join the RBI Grade B 2026 batch, wherein you will get all classes, downloadable magazines, mock test, current affairs. You will get everything over here. So if you want, you can enroll now. Fine. So if there is any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section, everyone. If everything is clear, please give me a thumbs up. You guys can follow me on Telegram as well. Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. Fine, you can just type Mannat Educator, and the name of my group is Economics with Mannat. You can also join my WhatsApp channel as well. Okay? So this is my account. If you guys want, you can connect with me here. For any doubt, later on, you can connect with me on Telegram. So is everything clear, everyone? Just give me a thumbs up so that we can end the session here. Okay, and that is all. I will keep coming up with such sessions, such important sessions from your exam point of view. We will keep studying about all of these things. Fine. Okay, then, everyone. See you all in my next one.